All right, so with the release of Destiny 2's Edge of Fate expansion, we also had the release of Armor 3.0. Now, before I get into the armor, and how the new armor works and stuff like that, and the new tier system works, I'm going to talk about the stats. Coming with this update as well, we had an update to character stats, basically, to where it allows us to be granted bonuses for getting a stat um, point distribution of like 101 all the way up to 200 basically. So for example, down here at the bottom of our character stats is a new character stat, weapons. um, so for anything that is 100, that is add directly 100 character stats, kind of like the old system, um, I'm gonna have plus 10% reload and handling, and then plus 15% damage. That's just an example for some of these. And each of these character stats has their own benefits and stuff like that. Like, health, you get health per orb 42.7, flinch resistance. For melee, you get cooldown and melee energy, grenade ability cooldown and grenade energy. For your super, you're gonna get super energy, so you get a percentage bonus for that. Um, and then class ability, same thing as grenade and melee. It's an ability cooldown and ability energy. But the one that's really interesting, and I think it's probably going to be the better one, and definitely one that I think every single player should go for, especially if you're in the end game, you need as much damage as possible, because the way that they did the numbers, you're not going to hit for the same damage that you were hitting for in the previous expansions and in the previous seasonal updates and stuff like that. So that's just something to keep in mind, while you're also trying to make your new builds coming out. Um, but anything that's 101 all the way up to 200, which is the max points you can put into a stat, you're going to get these enhanced benefits. Now, for the enhanced benefits for weapons, for example, your ammo bricks from enemies defeated have a chance to contain additional rounds. So basically, it's just scavenger is what that is. Um, but it's also going to increase your weapon damage against bosses and opposing guardians. Now, as far as I know, um, if you see here at the top, where right above the reload and handling, you're going to see that also, it increases your reload speed and handling, but it increases your weapon damage against minor and major combatants. This doesn't stack. The top portion is specifically for just minor and majors, and then the enhanced benefit is strictly for bosses and PvP for Crucible, which the Crucible one scares me a little bit, but it is what it is there. Someone's gonna find a way to break it to where they can just start one-shotting people, I feel like, but I don't know. We'll have to see about that. For your armor, now for the armor 3.0, most of you probably don't realize this and still haven't realized this, but the new armors are going to have this little like blue ribbon icon up here at the top. And I mean, just like all the armor that releases, the ribbon's here. The ribbon's always going to be on the left if you're looking in your inventory. But for this, we're just going to focus on the new armor. So for the new gear, you got your new gear ribbon. Then you're going to have these diamonds right here. Now, the diamonds represents the tier, the number of it basically. So right now, this is a tier 2 piece, which can have a stat roll chance of 58 to 63. That's booty. That's not good in this update. Anything that is tier 2 and below is not good. Um, the ones that you're going to want to farm is going to be tier 3, tier 4, and obviously tier 5 being the best. Tier 5 is 70, has a minimum stat roll of 75 plus stat tuning. Tier 4 has a minimum of 70 and a max of 75. Tier 3 has a minimum of 64 to 69. Tier 3, in my opinion, is mostly useless unless you get a stat roll of 68 and above. If you get anything that is 67 and below, honestly, you might be able to make some exceptions to 67 as the minimum. But anything that is 67 and below, I would just trash it. Because most of the armor in this game is going to be, most of your builds are going to require you to get up to at least 200 stat points, basically. So you got to kind of keep that in mind. Um, when you're making these, especially since, you know, we have a new weapon system too, and, you know, a lot of these enhanced traits, because, you know, weapon crafting is also useless in this game now. A lot of these are going to tie into your builds too, so it's best to try to also figure out if you can get these new weapons or not. If you can't get the new weapons, don't worry about it. But you know, another thing with Armor 3.0 that we have is set rolls, or sorry, set bonuses. Excuse me, not set rolls, but you're gonna get these like set bonuses, like for example, these ion renewals, for my Titan. Basically, you know, if I have 2 pieces equipped, I get a speed boost whenever I get a final blow with a rocket launcher or grenade launcher. If I have 4 pieces, because, you know, they made it 4, so we're able to still use our exotics. If I'm suspended or slowed by stasis, I'm also going to get a speed boost, basically. So, which both of these bonuses will apply, because I already have 2 pieces, and then if I double it to 4. So that's the gist of that, basically. Now, as where you farm all this gear and stuff like that, it's basically kind of the same as the last video. You're going to want to go to Kepler mainly. You're going to want to maybe select one of the missions to be able to get your, you know, your tier 3 Kepler gear. And basically anything that is tier 3, if you're on Mythic, anything will drop from tier 3 to up to tier 5, basically, as far as I know. I don't know if you can get tier 5 for sure. But I know you can get up to tier 4, because I have gotten tier 4 from this. Specifically is why, you know, I have the gun right here, the auto rifle, which is the Giver's Blessing. I did get this from just playing like a Mythic run around. I think it might have been the patrol space, but that's the way to do that. Obviously, I don't have access to any of these activities yet, so I can't really show that, but I'm pretty sure this will drop up to, I believe, tier 3, if I'm right. It doesn't show me. I'm wondering if it has to do with scaling of my light level too. But, you know, basically, like, the only way you're really going to get your tier 3s and stuff like that, as far as I know, is your high-end activities and stuff like that. So, you know, you go to Kepler, make sure you're on Mythic, because when you're on Mythic, don't go to Brave or Legendary, because those drop the exact same Kepler gear, which is tier 1. Fable drops tier 2, and this drops tier 3 and above, basically. So anything that's tier 3 up to tier 4, you're going to want to farm this with a fire team. Fire team is going to make this significantly easier. So that's one way of doing it. Make sure you do your, you know, your weeklies on the map, obviously, because there's like 2 weeklies right here. You got one here, which is charge, and then you got is this the time latch? No, this one's not the time latch. And then you got another mission right here. So, which are the 2 that you're going to want to run? And then you got your time latch mission, which can drop this gear as well. Why is it saying easy? Saying this is easy when this is on Mythic difficulty is crazy to me. That is weird. But other than that, that's pretty much Armor 3.0, kind of like just discussed a little bit. It's not very difficult to understand. It's pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. The stats you're going to want to mainly go for, personally, is going to be weapons and probably super. You're going to want to try to see if you can get your super a ton of times, because they actually made super useful now, which is kind of nice. And I think the enhanced benefit. Yep. So another thing with the enhanced benefit for supers is that also increase the damage for it. So it'll increase it by a percentage, which is good. Because that'll be able to, you know, for example, if I'm running Thunder Crash on my Titan and I have Cuirass, that'll all stack. So I'm able to just do as much damage as I could. So you want to kind of start optimizing your builds probably around super, and your weapons, basically. And then depending on preference, if you want grenade energy, melee, or health or whatever, probably your class energy, your class abilities, something you're probably going to want to use. Maybe not so much for Titans. Titans probably want to be more like health, so that way their shields are stronger, because, you know, as a Titan, you want to be as tanky as possible. Warlocks, you probably want to focus more on your class abilities, so you can get your rifts as just spam your rift. And it may be same thing with hunters. Hunters probably want to do the same thing so they get their dodge. Because a lot of hunter builds are based off of how, what their dodge is basically. Titan's barricade is kind of just, it's a preference thing, mainly health or class ability, but these are probably the three stats I would focus on more of, and then these are just kind of like, get them up as much as you can, basically. So, one more thing before you click off of the video and think you're done. This has always been something that's been in the game for a while. Your ghost. If your ghost is maxed out and leveled up completely, you can actually go in and equip an economic ghost mod, which has a gunner armor. Basically what this is allow you to focus a armor drop that has a specific stat roll basically they're looking for first. So for example, I'm really lacking in super ability armor. I'm going to equip Paragon, go in and do an activity, and I believe it'll drop with a minimum of 10. And I could be wrong when I say that. I think it might drop with a minimum of 20 now, but I don't know. I don't know what they did to the stat numbers. I know a lot of armor seems really juiced now, but it really isn't. Just one more thing before we're done with the video. With your tiers, with your armor tiers, always try to go for the highest possible stat roll, because that is going to make your build significantly better, because you want to max out. You want to reap the benefits of your character stats here. You want to be able to reap the benefits of weapons. You want to be able to reap the benefits of super. You want to be able to reap the benefits of this. With your class ability, you gain an overshield whenever you use your class ability. That basically allows me to, like, if I'm, on my my Sentinel, for example, if I'm trying to run Rally Barricades where I can get, what is it, Bulwark, I think? No, it's Bastion that gives me it. Bastion with Titans. That gives me a free overshield. I don't have to have that equipped anymore. I can literally just have Prismatic equipped. Throw down my barricade, and then I get a free overshield out of it. This is stuff that you have to think of when you're making your builds now. So just kind of remember that, guys. Anyways, that's all for the video. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, hit the like button. If you also really liked the last video and this video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I got builds coming eventually. It's just a matter of me farming out this new tier system and really trying to optimize my builds, because we're all lacking, boys. We are all lacking in this update. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys.